Hello, this is our third video on the environmental pathway. This is our work log, so we're on Pipework install now, so we'll just zoom in a little so we can see what we're doing. Pipework install. So there's 5 assessments. All Pipework must be directly linked to the installation requirements of the appliance. So you're going to do 5 assessments, but at least 2 of them assessments must come from site. So depending on your own circumstance, site assessments may be directly observed, site, directly observed, centre, reflective account, site, reflective account, centre. So installation of pipework less than 35 millimetres, it says there. Okay, so here we've got total 5 assessments, install pipework. These may be related directly to the installation requirements of the appliance. Note at least 2 assessments must come from site. So you can see we've got our green sections again and we've got our orange sections again. But it's quite clear here what we've got to do. Directly observed. So maybe DO on site or in centre. So in here we're going to have DO, DOS or DOC. Similar down underneath, DOS or DOC. And then reflective account may be from site or simulated in centre. So this will be RAC for reflective account site, or RAS reflective account, or RAC reflective account site. So that's how the 5 will play out, but there's a range that you've got to use. So at least 2 different pipe materials must be covered from the following list. So when we're doing those installs, we've got to either use copper tube, steel tube, corrugated steel, or polyethylene. So depending on what jobs you're doing, you might use a lot of copper tube, but you might not use any of these others. So you would maybe use 2 copper tubes directly on site. You might use some steel or corrugated when you do sort of an inside direct observation, for example. And then you could use other material for your reflective account. Similarly, there is a secondary range. At least 2 of the following include, so your compression joints. So how you're joining the material. So it's capillary joints, solder joints, compression joints. So that should be quite simple for you to meet that range. This range may be a little bit more tricky, and you liaise with your assessor to make sure you can meet the range according to the direct observation requirements. So we spin down here, we'll spin the page around as well. And then we've got here Pipework install and test direct observation. So all we've got here, this is our observation report, so the assessor will fill it in because it's green. If you see, green, observed on site or in centre. So no matter where you are, the assessor will fill that in as they're observing you. Get to this section, we'll spin this round as well. Assessor to complete, so it's still the same sort of thing. We're still on that green, even though there's none on there, it just follows on. And they're going to look at and watch you do all of this sort of stuff. So your soundness testing, any deficiencies, purge, satisfactory commissioning, everything will be on there, and they'll write that in. As we move on, this is green again, but you'll see install and test 2 direct observation. Exactly the same thing that you've just seen on direct observation 1. Same pieces of paper, but then we change colour, so we go to orange, which is now reflective accounts. And this should be install and test 3 reflective account. So you remember the first 2 was install and test 1, install and test 2, but they were direct observation, so they were green. And this one here, same paperwork as the sort of assessor's doing, but you're going to do it now. So job location, what you're going to do, and then these are similar to your assessors. You're going to circle if it was yes, no, or not applicable. RID or reportable situations, anything required there. Safe disposal of decommissioned pipework and materials. So if you're ripping out an old fossil fuel boiler, how are you getting rid of it all? Record pipework installed. So this is where you do your write-up of how you did things. Appliance. And then it continues down here. Description of the work, so real detail here. Candidate to write a work summary from on-site or in centre. So that's number 3. We see here we've got number 4. Well, same again. And then we've got number 5, same again. So you're doing 3 things that are similar all the time. You're writing up a reflective account of how you carried out that task. The first 2 are directly observed, whether they're in centre or on site. But your assessor will do the writing on the green sections. And that brings that one to a conclusion.